This week we're bringing you parchment craft. Now you might also know it as Pergamano.
And this is the first time for me to play with this stuff.
Is it?
It's so beautiful. It has a nice like white lacy look.
It does.
There's some embossing.
There's many things you can do with it. What I love is that with a few simple tools you can get just a marvelous look. Very lacy.
Totally elegant.
Very good, elegant. Okay, well, hey, come play with us. Well, let's start with paper because that's just the kind of folks we are.
That's what we're here for.
It starts with a paper that looks like vellum, but it's thicker.
Yes, and it's actually able to be kind of stretched with the embossing tool.
Exactly. We've got it in white in a 10-pack, and then also in a rainbow.
Yes, and these are really cool because you get the horizontal or vertical.
That's horizontal.
Horizontal stripes. Well, if you turn it this way, it's vertical. Anyway.
Nice save, Ann.
You get both directions of stripes.
In kind of a rainbow color.
Yeah.
There's also a book that's going to give lots of information. We're going to kind of touch the basics here, but what Ann was telling me she likes is that it will say, okay, what's embossing, tells you about it, what's perforating.
What's perforating, what are all these different things.
Yeah, what's cutting, it gives you just lots of techniques.
And lots of inspiration. The photographs are beautiful.
Are they? Okay, see that's that rainbow parchment,
yes,
so nice
is.
to see.
Here are the templates. We have these multi-grid templates, and they actually have tiny holes in them, some patterns and pictures.
These are metal, and that's what is needed.
I'm pretty sure they're cut with a laser because there's some tiny holes in here. Here's one that's come out.
Now these are the metal stencil themselves, but there are some that come with a pad.
Yes, and these are some butterflies, and these are the borders. And I opened this package up, and they come actually with the foam pad, so you can actually pierce and emboss on that.
Right. And that's a very kind of thick foam, isn't it? Okay, and the other tools, there is a piercer, and they have all kinds of them. We like to start with the single piercer. There's just one there, and it is a needle, so that's why we want to keep it covered up.
Yes.
And our Stylus is something that gets used quite a bit, and this one has 4 different tips, 2 that are shown and 2 that are inside. And then there are some scissors.
There are some scissors, and these are for the cutting, obviously.
Right, and these are a little curved, and they're a surgical steel, so they're really nice.
We'll use those a little bit later.
We will. Okay, let's get into a card.
Okay.
And here's kind of our sampler card, because a lot's going on here.
Right.
And this is using the white parchment. And you used that butterfly template, okay?
Yeah. Do you want to know how to do it?
I do. You're going to show us?
Yes.
Are you going to make us guess?
I'm going to make you guess. Okay, so do you have a couple pieces of stencil tape I can use?
I do, yes.
It's just helpful to kind of tape down your piece before you emboss it.
You probably don't need it that big, do you? But
that's okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to do maybe part of a wing.
Okay, just a little bit.
That's fine. That's great. Okay, so I've taped the parchment over the stencil, and I'm going to come in with my embossing stylus and just kind of color in, not color, but, you know, press.
Push.
Yeah.
Which will color,
Yes,
which adds white to it.
we'll add the white. And I'm actually going to switch this around to the bigger tool because this area is big enough for it.
So it's handy to have those extra
It is handy.
little tools. Okay.
Yeah, so you want to use the...
You know, I sometimes forget which to put on top. Do I put the paper on top of the stencil or underneath it?
When you're embossing, you put the parchment on top of the stencil.
Okay.
And when you're perforating, you put the parchment underneath the stencil.
Ah,
yes.
Okay.
Which
so dry embossing on top and piercing and perforating on the bottom.
Yeah, and the book will help you remember this.
Or you can play this webisode repeatedly.
Exactly.
So as you're pushing that, that's the stretching you were talking about. The paper's actually stretching a bit. And then we're going to see that where all the areas that you've dry embossed are turning white.
Exactly. Okay. So just one more section.
Come on, I want to see it. I want to see it.
Then I turn it over, and there it is. And this is actually a raised embossed pattern. It's really fun to kind of feel it.
It is.
The bumps in there.
Sorry you can't feel it, but trust me, it's
bumpy, and it's also white.
Right.
So you get both there.
And it is as simple as you just showed, because you've got the pattern, so you don't have to draw anything, and just keep pushing. And then you can place obviously the paper as you want. So you've got this kind of trail of butterflies going. Now, this has been stamped up here and backed with a piece of white paper with the stamp. Now, something else is going on at the bottom here. And
for the scallops.
Beautiful edge,
Yes, and I actually have another demo for that because we're doing a different technique. It's the perforating, and then we'll come into the cutting.
Okay, so that's a different stencil, of course.
There's another little practice piece.
Okay.
So I'm going to put the stencil over the
paper
parchment.
But still you need this foam pad.
I'm going to use this end border. Yeah.
And
I'm just going to
are a whole bunch of them on that stencil, a whole bunch of borders.
Yes.
And even though this is only about 4 inches wide, you can move it, so you don't have to feel like you need a 12-inch long one.
Okay, so here we go.
So the paper's underneath.
Yeah, and it's starting about right here, so I'm going to start piercing it. So I have to look really closely so I don't miss any of the holes.
And can you hear that popping?
Yeah, there's kind of a little...
Yeah, as it goes through the paper.
And I think if you do this for a while, you kind of get a rhythm.
Because they're all equally spaced.
To the piercing, right.
Okay.
So, I'm going to make sure you don't miss any holes. I'm going to take it off and see how it looks.
Okay.
All right, so there's my 2 little scallops. And in the case of the card, I actually did the border above the scallop as well.
Okay, and that was on the template. It was another little curved line.
Right.
Okay.
And to cut this border.
Now you don't have to cut it.
You don't have to cut it.
You can leave that edge as it is.
You can cut a straight edge underneath it, right?
But you're not doing that.
But I'm going to take my scissors, put each of the tips into separate holes, and just kind of snip them. And that's how you kind of get that lacy, feathered edge.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, so this is a detailed craft. And see, there we go. Okay. So you can kind of see the edge there.
So as if we can get in closer, yeah, it's a little jagged.
Yeah.
Okay, pretty. So going back to our card again, you can see that edge just right along underneath those roses. So it makes a beautiful look. So you've got dry embossing, and then you've got the piercing, and the cutting. Good job. To see some other examples, this is with that same border, just done in a rectangle around a focal.
And she actually just cut straight edges along these holes.
There's also something else I want to point out. Just like you showed, Anne, there is another piercing pattern that follows like the scallop edge or the square edge, and in this case it's turned over so that those pierces, I mean, I can feel those pooching up, so you can turn them up or you can turn them down.
Yeah, the traditional way is to pierce through the front of the paper, but you can certainly do it the other way and get that kind of
that edge.
Yeah.
Now there's
texture.
That same one that you just did, used as a border.
Right, and she trimmed that out with some small scissors.
And one of our retailers in New Zealand uses our templates regularly. She's a Pergamano artist, and she uses them. This is the Folded Bows template. And so like the little birdies, there's a lot of them are just perfect for this look.
So you could just pierce all around the shape of the template, right?
Right, and then snip it, and you get a beautiful piece. So I don't think this has anything more on the inside because that front has been so, but what a beautiful look. So you can do little areas or you can do the whole front. Here's another that has been slipped inside a slide mount, and you can see that little Christmas motif has been done, and it's also
really cute. You can feel it.
And then again, the borders. Those borders come in handy.
They do. They really do.
Now, say you want to add color
To the white cards.
To the white cards. This has been done. Well, first of all, this is a stamp.
Right. This is the vintage lady stamp, and I've used the large lady head there.
Okay, right in here.
Uh-huh.
And then to add color, there is a special product because the parchment is very slick.
Right. So it's kind of got a different surface. So they actually came out with these Dorso crayons.
And I think these will last you your entire life.
Yes, because you use actually very little of
if
them.
the kids don't get into them.
Yeah.
So there were, how many there? Let's see.
There are eight
Okay, so you can see the rainbow of colors. And they are a crayon. You're going to do some demonstrating?
Yeah. And they also have what's called Dorso oil, and that's what's used to spread out the color, which I will show you.
Okay.
So I have a sample, and I've already colored in a couple of flowers here. But I'm actually going to color it in on the back side.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
So don't rub off. So basically,
You're going to stay with your purple?
yeah, I think I'm going
Okay.
to stay with the purple. I actually colored in some of the petals on that flower already.
So
But-
you color it just like
Right.
you would think.
I'm just going to dab some colors on there. I'm not
Okay,
going to
so-
go all the way to the edge.
Okay, so you're not trying to make it perfectly fit.
No.
That's what the oil is going to do.
Exactly. So this, I'm using a Dove blender pen, which is just kind of an empty marker. And it's really nice to spread the oil with the crayon. So
Okay. And the oil, again, you just use teeny tiny bits,
yeah,
don't you?
I'm just gonna kind of dip that in there.
It's got a little hole there.
Yeah, and it smells strongly of orange peels.
Ah, it does. So that's nice.
Yes, so kind of a citrus scent. So I'm just going to dab my color all around the petal
Okay.
to spread it.
And then the one
to
that you started
edge.
is the bottom one.
Right. Let's see. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of a medium for the color to
I see.
pass through, and you can add more crayon for a deeper color, or you can even blend two colors together to get
Oh, good to know.
more colors.
And because you have that sharp point, you can really get exactly where
It's
you
just
want
like
to go.
a marker. So when I flip that over, you'll see her flowers are colored.
Okay, so it doesn't make it much duller by
Right.
turning it over.
Right.
Okay, so you still get
Because it's
that.
got translucency.
And going back to our finished card, so we've our stamped image with, of course, on the parchment and the dorso, and also got a little bit of flesh color in there.
And that's using the orange crayon.
Was
and
it really?
And I used it so lightly that it looks kind of beige.
Ah, perfect. And I love the green on the tendrils and the leaves. But we also have, again, is this the border going around?
That's not on the borders template. Let's see if I have it here.
It's on one of the other,
Oh, I see it.
there it is. Okay, so
Here
this
it
is
is.
on the multi-grid.
Yes,
If you-
and there's the border I used.
Okay.
Doo-doo-doo.
It's got several in there.
Yep.
And and then you've also gone around the edge here and done that snipping, and then used a white pen to do your
Yeah, and
sentiment.
that's also part of the techniques in the book is using white pen on the back of the parchment to also add more white illustrative details.
Okay, beautiful. Well, this is.
This has an inside too.
Oh, it does have an inside. Oh, then I should show it, huh? Okay.
want.
So you're doing some stamping more with
And
the
this
vintage
is
ladies.
actually, that flourish is included, so
Oh, good.
really elegant look.
But I see, we talked about earlier is that you can just do a little bit of it, or you can really just get very involved and do
Yes.
lots.
Lots of options there.
Very good. Thank you.